Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, are the Brooklyn Nets the scariest team in the NBA right now? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro Premium community that we're launching this week, and then be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com that's coming up after that. Anyway, so let me get into this topic here. So we all knew that going into this season, with the Brooklyn Nets having Kevin Durant, who had not played basketball in over a year, and Kyrie Irving, just off of that star power, the team that they had at the time was Spencer Dinwiddie, Jared Allen, and these guys. I don't know their entire roster, but they had a lot of good young pieces. A lot of us felt like they were going to be one of the contenders in the Eastern Conference. That's what a lot of us felt at the time, right? Going into the season, a lot of us were curious to see how KD was going to look, and KD came back and he looked pretty sharp. Although he came off an Achilles tendon tear, he hadn't played basketball in a pretty long time, and it looked like when he got back, they got off to a pretty good start. They were winning some games. Him and Kyrie seemed to have some type of synergy on the court, although there were some times where Kyrie Irving looked like a little bit of a ball hog, to be quite honest with you. But nevertheless, he was still putting up sensational numbers. If I look at Kyrie Irving's numbers this season, obviously it doesn't take into account his numbers earlier in the season. But if I just look at his general stats this season, he's shooting 28.3, he's scoring 28.3 points per game. He's getting you 4.8 rebounds and 5.7 assists. Now, if we delve a little bit deeper into Kyrie's numbers, he's shooting 53.5% from the field. He's shooting 44% from the three and 95% from the free throw line, right? So Kyrie is having a 50-40-90 season. He's an amazing basketball player on the offensive side of the ball. The guy is super efficient, because Kyrie Irving can flat out shoot. Like, there's just no two ways about it. The guy can shoot the basketball. He can shoot the rock. Now, if we look at Kevin Durant, on the other hand, KD is averaging 30.8 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and 5.2 assists. So basically, they have two players on the same team averaging close to 30 points per game, right? But if you look deeper in his stats, Kevin Durant is shooting 53.3% from the field, 45% from the three-point line, and 88% from the free throw line. So both of these guys are basically having close to 50-40-90 seasons, and he's also getting you 1.4 blocks per game. So these are the numbers that these two stars are putting up, and they were playing pretty well. Although at one point, Kyrie Irving decided that he was not just going to show up to work for reasons that were unclear to most of us. A lot of people speculated on whether or not he still wanted to play basketball or not. Stephen A. Smith said that he should retire from basketball. There were so many things being thrown around in the media. He seemed like he was going through some personal things that he wanted to resolve. And in that panic, the Brooklyn Nets thought that they needed to make a move, which was kind of like an insurance policy to say, listen, if this guy doesn't come back, we need to have somebody else to pair with Kevin Durant to continue following our ambitions to be one of the top teams in the NBA and possibly go to the NBA Finals. So they went out there and went and got a disgruntled star with the Houston Rockets in James Harden, who was very unhappy playing with the Houston Rockets. He had been there, I think, for about 6 years, but they had really gone nowhere, really. They'd never made it to the finals. And they just decided that, listen, we need to get this guy. And James Harden made sure he played his way out of Houston, and they got him. And the moment that they got him, they went from being potential contenders in the Eastern Conference to now favorites to come out of the Eastern Conference, because we all know that James Harden was a baller. He had led the league in scoring for the past 2 years. Kevin Durant had led the league in scoring 4 times. So they had these nuclear players on the offensive side of the ball. You bring them into one team, and then Kyrie Irving decided that he was going to come back and play with the team. And now you have this three-headed monster in James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant on the same team. And with their firepower, they turned them into favorites in the Eastern Conference to make it to the finals. Now, if we look at James Harden's numbers this season, let me see if I can pull them up here. James Harden is averaging 24.5 points per game, so his scoring dipped tremendously. A guy that was averaging 30 plus per game scoring dropped all the way down to close to 24 points per game, getting you 6.7 rebounds and 11.2 assists. And I think he's currently the league leader. He's leading the entire NBA in assists per game. He's shooting 48% from the field and 40% from the three, and 87.8, let's say 88% from the free throw line. So this is what ended up happening with the Brooklyn Nets all in one season, right? They went from being contenders to now favorites, and because of their firepower, I think their philosophy turned into, listen, we're just going to outscore you. I don't think the Brooklyn Nets philosophy is we're going to play defense, because listen, their key players on their team are not, none of them have been known for being defensive players. Now, some people say, listen, Kevin Durant can play defense at a pretty high level. Yes, he can play defense at a pretty high level, but he's not an all NBA defender. He's not at that level. He's never made an all NBA defensive team, not even all third defensive team. So he's not at the level of a Kawhi Leonard or LeBron James type of Paul George. These are all NBA defensive type of players. He's never made, he doesn't play defense to that level, especially and with that consistency. These are multiple all defensive team players for multiple years, not just 1 or 2 years, like you're talking about for the majority of their career. So Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron, these guys have made all first multiple defensive teams. So he doesn't play defense at that level, but I don't think that's what the Brooklyn Nets were. I don't think that's their philosophy. I think the Brooklyn Nets just said to themselves, listen, with this type of firepower, we're going to outscore you. And I think they're leading the league in scoring. Right now, they're scoring 122 points per game to me, which is astonishing, right? Yes, they lead the league, and the team behind them is the Milwaukee Bucks. A field goal percentage, they have the number one field goal percentage in the NBA, shooting 50% from the field. Think about it. As a team, they're shooting 50% from the field with perimeter players. And like I said, they have a Shaq or one of these guys in the paint. And, and they also have their top 5 in free throw percentages, shooting 81.9% from the free throw line. So the Brooklyn Nets, and 3-point percentage, they're number 2 at 40% from it's just astonishing. And 3-pointers made, they're number 3. It's just absurd when you think about just how nuclear of a team that this team can be. And one of the games that were able to showcase their offensive power was just recently against the Los Angeles Clippers, who were playing pretty good defense. They were improving their defense a lot, and they hung 124 points on them. Now, granted, they don't stop anyone. They can't stop them because the Clippers scored 120, and that was a 1-possession, 2-possession game. So the differential that the Brooklyn is beating teams by is very close, right? They can absolutely beat you, but you can also beat them, because they're not going to try to out-defend you. They're going to try to outscore you. And because of their 3-star players, it makes them a very scary team to deal with, because now you got to comb the league and say, okay, what teams can defend this team on a night in, night out basis, because they have a very good record against winning teams in the NBA, right? They're above 500 against above 500 teams. So they're beating the good teams in the NBA, just that they're also losing to the subpar teams in the NBA team, the mediocre teams, or the teams just middle of the pack kind of teams. But right now, given the fact of how their offense is clicking, given the fact that the confidence that they're coming off of by beating the Clippers, who had, I think, one of the best records in the NBA, I think their confidence is going to improve even more, and also as they play more games together, they're going to be more familiar with themselves. So they have a shot absolutely to be the scariest team in the NBA right now, in my opinion, and they have a good shot to come out of the Eastern Conference. Will they? I don't know. Some people have already punched their ticket to the finals. I don't know. We have to wait and see. I don't know who's going to come out of the West or the East, but right now they just might be the scariest team in the NBA because of their offensive firepower. There's nothing like it I've ever seen, man. It's crazy. Think about it. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard scored 60 last night, and the Brooklyn Nets scored 90 when they played them. So it's unconscionable how good this team is on offense. And for me, that's why I think they're the scariest team in the NBA right now. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you think that the Brooklyn Nets are the scariest team in the league right now, or do you think it's another team? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Again, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out the next video that we have coming up. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day, and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.